Hey, how's everybody doing? Today I just want to do a quick video about who's the best NBA player of all time. Anybody who watches the game, like there's always just conversations and debates about who the greatest of all time is, and I'm just gonna say it right now. There's no definitive best player of all time. It's just so hard to like compare eras and different players because there are different rules and there's different play styles. But as long as people are debating, I want to put my 2 cents in, and I want to say what I think. So today I just want to be talking about five players who could make the cut for greatest player of all time in no particular order. Honestly, I wrote down some of their accolades, and I want to go into depth about what makes them just be in the conversation for the greatest player of all time. So first and foremost, of course, when you ask any casual NBA fan who the greatest of all time is, they're probably gonna say Michael Jordan, and for good reason too. He's undoubtedly an amazing player, or was, I should say, retired now. But of course, just one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time. It's a generic answer for a reason. I mean, like you look at his accolades and they're just incredible. 6-6 in the finals, 6-time Finals MVP. So every single time he won the finals, he won MVP, which is super impressive considering the fact that he always had a pretty good team behind him with, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr, who I actually think is pretty underrated, has the highest 3-point percentage of all time before 3-point shooting even really became mainstream like that. Like before Steph Curry, before Ray Allen, before Klay Thompson, before Reggie Miller. He was also a 10-time scoring champion, and a five-time regular season MVP. Uh, he was once a Defensive Player of the Year, which is just incredible considering the fact that he was like a 10-time scoring champion, a 5-time MVP, and you're getting Defensive Player of the Year. That's just like crazy because that just proves how great of an all around player you are. Especially considering the fact that he averaged high assists every single season for a shooting guard. That's really impressive to me. Not saying that shooting guards can't average a lot of assists. Of course they can. Like today we have James Harden who's averaging I want to say close to 10 assists per game. Just shooting guards. There are shooting guards that can really pass the ball, but that's mainly a point guard thing. But Michael Jordan, with his incredible just all around game, could average those assists and could average the defense and the scoring. Is just all around amazing player. He was also he was a 14-time All Star, and made nine All Defensive teams and 11 All NBA teams. I think what really makes Michael Jordan one of the greatest of all time is just his well rounded, just all around game. Like I said, amazing score, uh, 10-time scoring champion. I do think he averaged like what was it, like 35 points per game or something. Just insane. Like you see people doing that now. It might have actually been more than that, but you see people doing that now, and that just wasn't that common back then. Just an amazing all around player. Uh, just there's not much more to say. He's just so well rounded. There's not really one thing that he's bad at all. He wasn't an amazing 3-point shooter, but he definitely was not bad. He was average, and to just like have everything in your arsenal be amazing, and then your worst thing is just average. That's incredible. Uh, but now moving on to somebody else who a lot of people will say is the greatest of all time. Still playing, LeBron James, 3-time champion, 3-time Finals MVP, and a 4-time regular season MVP. Playing at small forward, he's always been a great passer. He's been kind of a wishy-washy defender. Not like one season he'll be elite, and the next season, just not there. Just not really lacking in defensive skill, more so lacking in defensive effort. I feel like that's part of the reason why he's not seen as really an elite defender because of just the effort that he puts in. Like how James Harden used to be. Just he has the ability to clamp up on defense, but it's just a matter of willingness. 16-time All Star and a 15-time All NBA, 6-time All Defensive Team, uh, 1-time scoring leader, and a 1-time assist leader. I'm counting that assist leader as this year. I know that the um, season didn't actually go all the way through, but he was on track to be the assist leader this year. leading the league in assists, of course, and it's just insane, especially playing at small forward. Uh, People think that he was starting at point guard, but I was watching every Laker game, and it was like Rondo or KCP or just Avery Bradley, somebody else starting at point guard. So to be a small forward and share the ball that well is insane. He's been doing that his whole career. Uh, just super impressive. I feel like if he was just if he just showed better effort at defense, then he could definitely be way more, I want to say, respected when it comes to the just GOAT conversation. He doesn't have that depth that Michael Jordan does. He doesn't have the same defense. He's not quite the 3-point shooter that Michael Jordan was. Michael Jordan was just average, but I forget whose video I saw about this, but it was like a 30-minute video, a really great video. But they showed how Michael Jordan and LeBron James have both taken the same amount of 3-pointers pretty much throughout their career, and they've both made about the same amount, shooting this pretty much the same percentage. But the thing is, back then teams only averaged around nine 3-point attempts, when today we take on average 40. So that's over four times as many than they used to take. So it just speaks volume about how much of a better shooter Michael Jordan was. Also, LeBron James' free throw shooting has never really been there, shooting low 70s, I think, something like that. So if he was just more consistent on those bases, then he would definitely be more respected as far as the GOAT conversation. But he's just not as well-rounded of a player as Michael Jordan. So, he's just not quite there. I forgot to mention, by the way, these are in no particular order. I think I forgot to mention that. But if I did forget to mention, these are in no particular order. This is not from best to worst or worst to best. This is just the people who can make the conversation. So, moving on, the rest are going to be centers, by the way. But moving on to the third person, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Of course, the most points of all time, 38,000, I believe. A little bit over. A 16-time NBA champion, and a 2-time Finals MVP, and a 6-time regular season MVP, which I do believe is a record for the most MVPs in a regular season. Two-time scoring champion, which is insane to me considering the fact that he has the most points of all time, because that just shows how consistent he was throughout his entire career. To only lead the league in scoring twice, but to have the most points of all time, and not even to have the longest career of all time. Close to it, but not quite. 1-time rebounding champion, 4-time block champion, of course, an amazing defender. I feel like that aspect of his game doesn't get talked about enough, because, everybody wants to talk about the sky hook, which of course is, that's definitely deserving of being talked about. One of the most unguardable shots, if not the most unguardable shot of all time. Just an amazing scorer. Not a great 3-point shooter of all time, but he's a center in the 70s and 80s, so you can't really expect him I believe he was 1 for 14 on his career from 3, which is better than Shaq, better percentage. He was 1 for 32 or something, but that's beside the point. 19-time All-Star, which is insane. He had a 20-season career and he was a 19-time All-Star. That's only one season where he wasn't an All-Star. He's a 15-time All-NBA and 11-time All-Defense. Just like Michael Jordan, a super well-rounded player in terms of offense and defense. Not quite, not a great shooter, of course, but he's, just a traditional big man, you know what I mean? So he's not going to be taking these threes and stuff. But Kareem, I feel like, is somebody who doesn't get mentioned to be the greatest of all time enough, in my opinion. Just the fact that he had that sky hook, and the fact that he had 38,000 points, and just the amazing defender that he was. Another guy, another center who was super well-rounded too, Bill Russell. Of course, 11-time champion, the most of all time. We've all seen that picture with he doesn't have as many fingers as he has rings, bro. It's crazy. He's a lot of, just a lot of people just collectively agree he's the best defensive player of all time. Of course, in the era that he played in, they weren't recording block shots. I think they started recording them around the early 70s, which is a little bit after his time. I think he might have still been playing, but just not enough time to record all the blocks that he has throughout his career. Of course, uh, he an elite rebounder. Of course, 4-time rebound champion, most rebounds in a quarter with 19, most rebounds per game in the finals with 29 and a half rebounds, which is insane to me. 5-time regular season MVP, 3-time All NBA first team, 11-time scoring champion, and 4-time rebound champion. Now, of course, if you're gonna get on this list, like everybody on this list is a super well-rounded player. I think the worst defender on this list is LeBron James, and that really says something because of the defender that LeBron James is. Not an insanely elite defender, but still a really good defender. So that and the 11-time scoring champion for Bill Russell too is crazy. He's grabbing all those rebounds, he's blocking these shots, and then he's going up and scoring a lot too, leading the league and scoring 11 times. And only a 4-time rebounding champion, one of the greatest rebounders of all time, of course, but only a 4-time rebounding champion because of this next guy, Wilt Chamberlain. Of course, just it feels like he has every single record possible. Of course, the most famous one that he has, the most points in a game, 100. We've all seen him holding up that 100. Of course, it wasn't televised, unfortunately, but like, how you gonna get that many people to lie for you? But just incredible player all around. Highest points per game in a season with 50.4. I highly doubt that's ever gonna be broken. He not only does he have all these records, but he has these records that just it doesn't look like anybody's ever gonna come close to ever breaking them. Like, just insane. He has the most. He has 59 points and a half. I couldn't score 59 points in a 20-year career, and he has 59 points and a half. He has the most 50-point games in a season with 45. Keep in mind that back then there weren't nearly as many teams, but they were still playing 82 games in a season. He had and also, like, he's playing against freaking Bill Russell and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar more than these players now, with the 30 teams are matching up against each other. Because back then, I think it was like 8-10 teams in the league, but still 82 games, so they were facing each other a whole lot. So Wilt was facing Bill Russell and Kareem, and to still be able to get these records is just crazy. He has the most rebounds in a game with 55, which his rebounding presence is just the reason why Bill Russell was only a 4-time rebound champion. He's a 2-time NBA champion, of course, behind Bill Russell for that. They were playing at the same time. They met all the time in the finals. But unfortunately for Wilt, he wasn't able to come out on top, which kind of hurts me because, I'm a diehard Laker fan. Wilt Chamberlain played for the Lakers for a little bit, so, he's one of my favorite players of all time. Personally, he's my second of all time, actually, right behind Kobe. I love Wilt, man. Just an incredible player, dude. He only won the Finals MVP one time. Jerry West won the other one for them for the championships. He's a 15-time All-Star, a 17-time scoring champion, an 11-time rebounding champion. And there's this like the stigma, this like, people just say that he wouldn't even be a good player in today's NBA. He wouldn't be able to match up against Shaquille O'Neal or whatever. But that's just crazy to me. Because, like, first of all, how are you going to be that dominant in that era and not even be good in this one? But you look at his athleticism, his athletic ability. He had the same 40-yard dash as LeBron James. He had anywhere from a 44-inch to a 48-inch vertical. And keep in mind that Michael Jordan had a 48-inch vertical. So it's possible that he could jump as high as Michael Jordan, run as fast as LeBron James, and he could bench press more than Shaquille O'Neal, who somebody thinks is who a lot of people think is the strongest NBA player of all time. Reportedly, Wilt Chamberlain could bench press 600 pounds. I don't know how much I believe that, but I know for a fact he could bench press more than Shaquille O'Neal, which is insane to me. He, like, just an insane athlete all around. You know what I mean? Just, crazy fast, crazy strong. He could jump super high. Like, and there's, like, pictures of him, just jumping, like, blocking shots, and it's insane. He's literally like 3 feet off the ground, 4 feet off the ground when he's already 7'1". Crazy to me, man. But I mean, like, there's no way to tell who's the greatest of all time. Like I said, man, like you just can't compare the eras, different play styles, different rules. That's a big thing. Different rules, you know, there's a lot more rules today than there was back then. So, you know, not only was there more leniency back then, but also you got to keep in mind that it was a lot more physical play. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna say who I think is the greatest of all time because that's just gonna. You know what? No, whatever. I'll say it. Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest player of all time. Okay, I'm gonna say it. That's a hot take on my part. A lot of people say it. A lot of people say Michael Jordan. A lot of people say LeBron James. I personally think Wilt Chamberlain is the greatest player of all time. I just stated so many reasons why, man. Just the most dominant player of all. You can't even argue that he's not the most dominant player of all time. Got a little bit heated there for a second. My bad. Anyway, just you know, just amazing players, and of course everybody's gonna compare and contrast who's better at this, who's better at that, who is better all around, who would win in a one-on-one. Just the fact of the matter is these are amazing players, and nobody watching this, not me, we could ever stack up against them. Just insane players, all around. Not much else to say, you know. Tell me who you think is the greatest player of all time, you know, maybe give a reason why, you know what I'm talking about, like, just let me know. So, that's pretty much it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.